Okay, welcome everybody to AI Horizons. This is our March meeting, and we are joined by some fabulous presenters. Before we introduce them, though, I want to go over one quick announcement here. And I'm going to share my screen for this one, just so everybody is seeing what I'm seeing. If I can get my copy and paste working here. So I'm going to drop the link in chat. Okay, share screen. Okay, so we are just announcing TLT AI Fest. So we had a brief announcement last month about this, but we rebranded to AI Fest just so we didn't interfere or confuse folks with the University AI Week that is happening later in the fall. So TLT AI Fest is happening next month in April. You can register now for any sessions you'd like to attend. I dropped the link in chat, but we have an interactive schedule here that you can click on any session you'd like to attend, and then you can just add it to your calendar like that as well. And if you click register now, we also have all of the events organized by day. So you can see what's happening on Monday, Tuesday, and nested into our AI Fest, we have our Dreamery speaker series, which we will be having Jordan Mraziak coming to present on Monday and Tuesday around AI. So fabulous presenter, so definitely check that out. And each session will specify if it's hybrid, online, or both. So we will be offering events throughout the week in the Dreamery. Some of those events will be hybrid. Some of those events will be in person only. So make sure you're looking at the details. And with these events, a lot of these have specific registration links. So you will have to register for each individual event that you would like to attend. For instance, right here, the AI Game Lab is in person only, and this one is limited to 32 attendees. So that is something to look out for. Once we cap at 32, folks will still be able to register, but you'll be placed on a waiting list. So check out all these fantastic events we have going on throughout the week here. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself. Or if you have a friend in TLT, reach out to them as well. We'll be able to help you out with AI Fest. So that's happening starting April 13th. Come hang out with us. It's going to be fun. All right, so I'm going to stop my share here. And now we're going to kick off our activities for this month with our first presenter. We have a familiar face joining us, Kyle Halapsinski. He shared some of his AI teachings about 2 or 3 months ago. So he's a professor at Penn State Barron, and today he will be talking about the ADAPT platform that he helped co-build, co-design. So I'll kick it over to Kyle to talk more about his ADAPT platform and what that looks like.
All right, let me go ahead and get my screen shared here. And thank you, Zach. Thank you for having me back to AI Horizons here. I realized this literally in the last 2 minutes here and didn't have a chance to say, to add it or change my slide, but I should also have Tiffany Petrosini's name on here if anybody knows her. This has been a group effort here. I completely, she wasn't going to be able to be here for today, and so as I was putting it together, just think about her, unfortunately, but I should have, because again, she kind of kicked off this whole process and um, initiated a lot of this project in the first place. So, and thank you everybody for being here, especially over spring break. Not sure what the weather's like. It's actually pretty nice out here for once. So, appreciate you taking the time to be here. Gonna do my best to limit my preamble today. Going to give you a little bit of a rundown or a high level overview of what we've built. But ultimately, I want to kind of demo that. I'd prefer to show you it rather than just talk about it. And then hopefully, if I can limit my rambling, you'll have some time to hopefully try it out yourself. Um, right here so that if there's any questions that come up, we'll be able to answer those. So, as Zach said, today I'm going to be talking about ADAPT. ADAPT stands for Assignment Design and Pedagogical Transformation. Ultimately, it's about two things. So first, having a place where faculty can share assignments where they've integrated AI, right? We're really aiming to promote, similar to what AI Horizons is, right? Promote a community style approach to AI integration where everybody can learn from everybody else. And to that end, we've built in a couple of different tools to help really try to lower the barriers to adoption. Making it as easy and as seamless as possible to integrate AI into your courses, into your assignments. So let's jump forward here and talk a little bit about the challenges that we are facing here. So I mentioned the desire to really build a community around this. Nobody should have to feel like they are figuring out AI alone, right? But uh, with everybody or with everything moving at the speed of AI, it's really easy for things to kind of fall through the cracks. And a lot of times, maybe the person that's two or three doors down might be solving or working on the same exact problem as you, and you might never know that, right? So there's no shared space to see what's working or what's not working, just as importantly, and really no space to build on others' ideas. So ultimately, that's the gap that ADAPT is intended to fill here. There's three pathways in this platform, and they're designed to kind of meet you where you are. So if you've integrated AI into some of your assignments already, you can use the submit feature to share it with others so that they can learn from it. If you want to see what your colleagues are doing, you can look through that repository, and then Remix is going to allow you to take any assignment from that repository and tailor it to your course using AI. And then if you haven't started yet, or maybe you've got a few AI integrated assignments, you've got other ones that you want to maybe think about, how can I integrate, how can I keep this assignment and maintain all of the core competency learning objectives that I already have. Maybe there's an assignment that you've been using for 5, 10 years that you absolutely love. You're not ready to completely get rid of it just because we're in the AI era. You can transform that assignment to keep those core learning objectives, whatever they may be, and add some AI literacy learning objectives to that assignment as well. So in a few minutes, I'll demo those. I've just got a couple different slides to get through here. Like I said, this is intended to be for everyone. One of the biggest challenges with AI in higher ed is that, and really AI everywhere, is that everybody's at a different place in their AI journey, right? So we kind of built ADAPT around that reality. So if you're still trying to figure out where to start, or if maybe you've recently started to dip your toes, or if you've been integrating for 2, 3 years, there's something that you can find value in this platform here. So again, just our high level plan. I'll do a quick demo of all three of the features, and they've been working well up to this point. This is the first actual live demo, so inevitably I'm bracing for impact for something to go wrong here, but knock on wood. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Then I'm going to turn everything over to you to try that out for yourself. If you brought an assignment, or if you have an assignment handy, that's great. You can submit that, or if it's not AI integrated, you can transform it. If you don't have anything handy, also not a problem. You can just look through what's already in the repository. You can play around with the remix feature and see how that works. And then, of course, I'll be here to answer questions. So I do have my screenshots as backup just in case, but again, hopefully we're not going to need these. So I'm going to jump over to the actual platform. And when you land in, first place that you land is right in the repository. You'll see that we've started to get the backlog going a little bit here just at Barron. So there's been some business professors that have actually two business professors, one being me, that have started to upload assignments here. And then Tiffany has started to upload some of her assignments. The hope is that we can get, even more in there. We've got, though, right now around, I think, 40, yes, 18, 10, and 12. So that's a good start, I think, to kind of give you a feel of what this looks like and what it can do. Of course, you can filter over here, but the main meat and potatoes here are the actual assignments. So you can see each assignment as at a high level and some of the details of that. But let's say you want to know more about this Spotify AI music feature design course that is from my business and systems analysis course. You can open this up. This just gives you that high level description. If you would like to know more, see the full details, you can click View Original, and that's going to load up the entire assignment for you so you can see how that is structured. And then you can also download that assignment if you wanted a copy of it for yourself. So pretty straightforward as far as repositories go. Again, standard filtering and all of that. You can see which tools it's designed to be used with. So let's say that you're looking specifically for a notebook LM assignment. You can take a look here and read through that. So that is the repository. Again, you've seen on each of these assignment cards, there is this remix button. So let's say that I'm looking through, and let's go back to that notebook one real quick. And I decide, hey, this seems interesting. I've heard about Notebook LM. I know that's the one where you can create, crazy videos and the AI generated podcasts. And it's hard to keep up because they're literally adding features like on a weekly basis. But hey, let me see what I can do with this in my class, right? So you would come in, you would click the remix button. It's going to open up this sidebar over here for you. And you can, and again, we tried to keep this as seamless as possible. In the past, we've had some, or I had created some chatbots that essentially tried to kind of mimic this behavior. Didn't get a ton of traction with those. And one of the reasons I think that is because it was still, there was still a little bit too much friction there. So it was still taking, I guess, a little bit too long, or maybe there was, it's just certain, anyways, this aims to fix that. So let's go and let's say we want to do intro to psychology. We select our course level. You can also give it some additional context here. So some more specificity around the discipline, any constraints that you might have, and any additional context. So there is some flexibility in here, although you do not need to include those. You click Generate Remix. This is going to send a call out to Grok, Groq, not the XAI AI, not Elon's AI, but Grok, which is going to send that content to one of Meta's models. It's the Llama, I believe, 70 billion parameter model that sits behind this. And it's going to give me a nice little preview here so I can look through and make sure that I agree, make sure that this aligns with kind of what I had in mind for my assignment or for my course. Let's say that, for instance, this is the first time that I'm ever integrating AI into my course or into my assignment, and I want to make sure that I'm providing students with enough guidance on this. If you look, you can see this little click to refine that pops up on each section. So let's say that I want to give students a little bit more guidance here. I can click this. This is going to notify me that if I change the interaction or if I add more detail to the interaction, that could potentially have an impact on the evaluation criteria and the integration guidelines. So I just want to say, okay, I agree with that. So those cascading changes will be made, and it's going to send another call out to AI and make those adjustments according to my feedback that I gave there. Similarly, again, maybe I haven't integrated AI in my courses yet. I read through and I say, hey, this assignment sounds great, but I'm really not sure how I'm supposed to implement this or how to provide guidance to students. I can click on this and I have some options there to add more details, give them strategies, troubleshooting tips, scaffolding approach. Let's say I go with troubleshooting tips. And it's going to refine that section as well. Once I'm happy with the results, I can download that as a Word document. It's going to be nicely formatted for me. So, hold on. Okay, here we go. So all nicely formatted with the headings and everything. The rubric gets a little wonky there, but you still have all of the criteria there and the point values. Uh, Oh boy, of course, there's an issue there. I'll have to look at that. That's another part of wanting to get some additional people into the platform is there's only so many, bugs and defects that, as a three-person kind of testing team that we can catch. So, as if you're noticing things or if something seems like it's not quite right, please, feel free to let me know about that. So that is the remix workflow. The last one is the transformation process. And actually, let me go back real quick because I'm realizing I forgot to highlight the submit assignment. So again, we tried to make this as easy as possible for you. Initially, I had just this form that where you would have to come in and manually type all of that information. And Tiffany was like, "Well, no, we should be doing OCR extraction." So started looking into that. And so we have that enabled now. So if we go and I drop in my non-AI integrated assignment, and if you can't see the text there, it can be PDF, Word doc, it can be even images of an assignment. So a PNG or a JPEG, you can just upload that here. And you're going to click extract. And it's going to go through and pull out all the information that it's able to. If it's, for example, if you don't specifically mention an AI tool by name, it's not going to guess on that. So you can come in and make those selections there. It's going to pull the learning objectives out for you. Any implementation notes, which you probably might not have in the actual assignment, so you can add your implementation notes there. Lessons learned, if this is the first time or maybe first or second semester that you've done this and maybe you don't have any lessons learned yet, you can just leave that blank for now. You're able to come back into this later and update it with any lessons learned as you would like. Again, optional fields here. So any student feedback that you've gotten, how long does it take? That might be useful information to faculty that are looking to adopt this. Different assignment types here. And then you have the options to, if you are okay with being contacted. So if somebody wants to implement it or integrate it and or use it for their class and they have some questions, they can reach out. And we also figured that there might be some opportunities for research around this. So you're able to indicate, I'm okay with this assignment being used for anonymous research. I'm not going to submit this right now just because that's going to clog up the works, but once you submit that, that'll go to the approval workflow. Tiffany or I will approve it. And once that is done, it will show up on this in the repository here. The transform assignment works pretty similarly. So I'm going to upload my non-AI integrated assignment. And I'm going to extract the details. Not quite as much being extracted here. It's still, instead of parsing it out into separate fields, it's just going to put it into this text box here, some additional details. You can indicate, so again, maybe you're already implementing AI or you've already done a lot of AI integration, but this is just one of the assignments that you want to transform. You might be intermediate at that point. Let's just stick with beginner for now and start transformation. And again, so initially this had the idea was for this to be a chatbot and actually even built it out as a chatbot and just felt like there was maybe too much back and forth, too many decision points, aimed to make it as simple as possible. So the first step or the second step after the upload is it's going to give you 4 different options of kind of varying complexity here as far as the complexity of the AI integration here and how you're having students use AI. So let's just pick something in the middle of the road here. We're going to have AI help them with their data analysis. It's going to give me 5 or 6 different directions based on that selection. There we go. So data visualization report, do you want it to help with research assistance, trend analysis, drafting support, or feedback and a revision? Let's say I want to help or have AI help them spot trends that they might not otherwise pick up on. And again, pretty quickly there, we're going to have a nicely formatted assignment with not just the content mastery learning objectives, but those AI literacy learning objectives baked in as well. And similarly to the remix approach, you can click to refine any of these sections. So if you want more detail, we have our AI integration guidelines there. So how you want them to use it, our evaluation criteria, and the same goes for here as far as downloading that. So I'm looking at the time and I know it's going to be tight, but I do at least want to put this into chat here, and then I will, uh, if you want to go ahead and poke around in there, go ahead and do that. If you have any questions about it, um, feel free to ask now. Um, if anything that I said wasn't clear, because I know I kind of jumped through that, it's been like 5 days since I've lectured, so I was a little bit tongue-tied there. If anything wasn't clear, please let me know. Um, and again, since this is, all pretty new, this is not necessarily meant to be set in stone. So if anybody's looking through this and, maybe you have an idea for, hey, it would be really helpful if I could do X, Y, Z, please do not hesitate to send me an email. That's not a guarantee that we'll be able to do that. But if it seems like it's something that it makes sense and and I'll say I'm comfortable with making that change because I am not a coder. I should emphasize that. So this was largely built with the assistance of Lovable and Claude. Um, but if it's a smaller change or enhancement, we would be happy to kind of make those changes and continue to grow this as we get more eyes on it.
Kyle, I do have a question. It's a phenomenal tool. I really love the idea of the platform. And this might be a dumb question, so forgive me, but once you create something and download the Word document, you just then, is that just a prompt you put into the tool that you specified, or what happens after you download that Word document?
So you're talking about like once I've remixed or transformed and I download that assignment.
Yeah,
So then that's technically the end of that kind of workflow, right? Then you go and whatever integrate, put that into Canvas or however you distribute your assignments to your students. But you could put it right back into the repository if you would like. We don't necessarily want to preclude anybody. So even if you haven't actually used it in class yet, that doesn't mean that it can't go into the repository. That's why we have the ability to add those lessons learned later on. Because again, a lot of this is kind of figuring it out as we go along, right? And we want to
yeah.
emphasize that it doesn't have to be perfect to be in here and to give somebody else an idea and potentially build on that. But did that answer your question? Once you
You
have
did.
that
As you
work,
were talking, it
okay.
made me realize we're not really talking about building like bots here. We're talking about assignments that students would then use whatever model is specified to interact with the assignment, right? So it's not, it's,
That's
yeah,
that
gotcha.
is that is correct, but you do bring up a really good point because there are so I for instance have some chatbot based assignments that don't really lend themselves that well to this because rather than having an actual physical 2-page assignment that I'm giving to students, that having the conversation with the chatbot is the assignment, right?
Yeah.
So we have thought about how can we make space for those types of assignments in here. Um, and then that could again kind of lend itself to I think maybe what you were talking about or think the lines that you were thinking along of okay, create some custom instructions for me to create a chatbot that does this assignment. Does that
Yeah,
make
I
sense?
saw remix in my mind. I'm under caffeinated. Went to something like PlayLab, which is a platform where you create bots and you can remix bots. And I was thinking bots and just looking at it through the perspective of the assignments, and then now go to Claude and do this. That's really elegant and really kind of cool. So I appreciate this on a whole new level now. So thank you for that
Nice.
clarification.
Sure. Thank you. Good question. I see the question, are these AI agnostic? Are the If you're referring to the assignments that are already in the repository, some of them, so like if you see one that has, ChatGPT custom, that's kind of the indicator that they are agnostic and they'll work across or with multiple, AI tools. Um, if a faculty, if faculty submitted an assignment that for whatever reason it's, no, we're using Claude for this, then, that would be indicated as well. As far as the transform assignment goes, that should be relatively agnostic. So that should be applicable to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. Um, the remix, again, that's going to partially depend on the specifications that the initial faculty member had laid out for that assignment. Oh, great question. I meant to mention that is the platform password PSU. It is not connected to PSU. We have the piping in place. We haven't gone through the legwork of connecting it with SSO just because we're kind of still in the soft launch territory. So that is on the roadmap for right now. When you come in, you'll see instead of this up here, you'll see the sign in button. You click sign in. You'll have to use your PSU email for this because right now it's whitelisted to PSU emails. You'll get a confirmation link in your email. And then once you click that and activate it, then you'll be able to get in. Great question. I apologize for forgetting that.
Hey, Kyle, Andrew has another question right above the
Oh, yeah.
password. I'm not sure if you answered this one yet, but this is a great question about transforming. Can this tool transform or adapt non-AI assignments into AI assignments?
Yes, yes, that is 100% what the transform assignment workflow is. Oh, logged out here. What the transform is for. So you take your non-AI integrated assignment, upload that, and it's designed to keep the assignment core the same, but make those suggestions for here's how students could use AI responsibly and ethically within this assignment, rather than just the copy the assignment, paste it over here, do this for me, right? So it's kind of taking that control of here's how you use the tool, right? I always go back to the math class example. Anybody can get to the same polished results relatively easily, right? But we want to see how they got there. We want to know how they're using the tool so that we know that they're using it responsibly. And yeah, so this is your existing assignment workflow.
Hi, I was wondering if I could ask a question.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Harley. It's nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's been great so far. My question is, once the Word document is generated, I work in the accessibility department, so we have a lot of students that need screen readers and tags in order to be able to actually access the materials. When those are generated, does it generate the proper tags accessible for screen readers?
This is a great question. So the initial screen that you see where you're previewing the assignment, where it's kind of got like that nice rendering and those little sections and those boxes, that should be configured. I ran that through, I believe it's, what is it, Lighthouse, whatever the Google tool is for that stuff. So that should be good. Then the Word document, and I should know more about this being in the MIS space, but I don't know about the Word document. I mean, I think that kind of by default, Word documents are screen reader friendly, but I don't want to, I could completely be speaking out of turn on that. I don't want to put that forth as fact there.
Awesome. And I also remember you saying that you can also generate images and upload the images with the assignment to like your Canvas course. Whenever you generate the image, does the image generate that rich text that screen readers can allow as well?
So to clarify on that, you're not generating an image of the assignment. This would be, let's say I don't have a Word copy or a PDF copy of the assignment and it's just in Canvas, rather than like copy and pasting all of those text details from Canvas into here. I could just take a screenshot of that, upload it here, and it's going to extract and understand my assignment. So the image side is not anything that's user facing. That's what you can provide to the tool here to provide it, either the assignment that you want to submit or the assignment that you want to transform.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. Great question. All right, I'm just trying to catch up here.
Yeah, we are at 10:32. So for the sake of time, I am going to start the transition to our next presenter. But there's a lot of great questions, a lot of great conversation happening in the chat. So Kyle, if you wouldn't mind, if you would like to maybe ping a few of those folks in chat to answer those questions. Adrian, I would love to connect with you about Canvas AI tools. This could potentially be another session here at AI Horizons. I know we have some folks looking at Canvas AI tools here at Penn State. And just to reiterate, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are looking for folks to add assignments in here to test out this platform. And if they find anything that doesn't work, to reach out to you. So you shared the link in here, so I think I'm safe to say that folks can add their assignments into this platform and use this tool for the next few weeks here to see how it works. Is that correct?
Yep, that's all correct. The more that we can get in here, the better and more powerful the platform is going to be. And I get absolutely ecstatic when I get the little notifications that an assignment has been submitted. So if you want to make my day, it's an easy way to do that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kyle, for building this and sharing this with AI Horizons. And for the community here, please share your assignments, upload them here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Kyle. Again, thank you, Kyle. And now we are going to transition to our second presentation today, which we are joined by a few folks here. We have Kim Heckman from ITLD, joined with Rick Rhodes from our cloud team. And I believe I saw David Ginhart from Penn State IT join the call. They will be sharing nebulaONE, so our Penn State's new secure AI platform. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to that team to tell us more about nebulaONE and how we can use that here at Penn State.
Great.
Kyle, if you
Thank you,
wouldn't
Zach.
mind stopping your share so they can share as well.
So,
There we
Zach,
go.
thank you for having us. Give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. Thank you. So, if my background looks a little strange, I am actually sitting, I could get moved from where I am at a conference, and the quietest place I could find was sitting in the Easter Bunny seat in the hotel where, so there may be little kids coming by looking at me funny, like that's not the Easter Bunny. And there might be a person, a large person in a white outfit who kicks me out of here because it's time for Easter Bunny to actually take his seat. But in the meantime, I've got it. So I'll do my best. Okay. So yes, thank you, Zach, for having us. And Kim and Rick are going to do the hard work today, but I'm going to do a few introductory slides about nebulaONE. So Dave Ginhart, I work in Penn State IT, and I am co-chair of the AI Coordinating Council. Jesse, it's not Hawaii. It's very hot and muggy Florida, and I actually wish I was back in Pennsylvania right now because you guys have better weather. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, some background on nebulaONE and kind of how we got here. So back at the end of last year, we had an AI tools ecosystem task force, and that was a group of faculty members, instructional designers, IT staff from a variety of different disciplines. And that group was chartered by our executive sponsors, so the provost, the CIO, the senior vice president for research, and they recommended a portfolio of AI services. And I'll show what those are in the next slide. And the motivation for our work was a few things. I would say number one was around student equity. This idea that our students are using a variety of tools. I would say most of them are using kind of what we'll call the free tier of tools, which are problematic for a whole bunch of reasons. And I'll talk a little bit about that on the next slide. But some students are paying for more expensive tools. And so it's creating kind of this unlevel playing field in the classroom. And so one of the motivations was how can we kind of level up all students, in addition to providing all of our faculty and staff with access to some robust tools. So nebulaONE gives you access to multiple large language models. So currently in our development instance, we have ChatGPT models in there. We have Anthropic models, so we've got Claude models, Google Gemini models, and we just recently added some of the Llama, Meta's Llama models. And we'll probably be adding more in the future. The other thing is this is a really affordable option. So some universities have chosen to purchase large amounts of a single vendor's product, like ChatGPT licenses or Claude licenses or Gemini licenses. At our scale, that gets really expensive, and you pay for those regardless of how people are using those tools. This is actually a usage-based model. So we're paying for the tokens that people are using on the back end, which is much more affordable for us. And then last, it really protects our data really well, especially compared to those free tools that many students are accessing. And so it's protecting from a data privacy standpoint, but also we can put institutional data in this system and feel good about its protections. Next slide. And I apologize, this is a really busy slide. We'll go through kind of one by one each of these tiers. So if you can click for the next. I talked about the free tier. So this is your free versions of ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and Perplexity. You get some basic capabilities. You should have no expectation of getting security or data protections, and you run into your usage limits pretty quickly. The next tier up, next is what I'll call the basic enterprise tier. This is your Microsoft Copilot. We'll be rolling out Google Gemini to all faculty, staff, and students here in the next few months. You get some basic capabilities. You get good security. We have contracts in place with those companies, and your usage limits are higher, and it's costing us less. It's usually built into existing agreements that we have with those companies. If you can go to the next one. This next tier is what we'll talk about today. This is an AI platform. We've chosen nebulaONE. It gives you access to multiple models, and it also gives you the ability to build assistants. So things like a custom GPT or a Gemini Gem, if you're familiar with those. You get more advanced capabilities. We get really good security and data protections behind our login. We have a lot of controls over the security of the system. And the usage limits are actually something that we will set internally. So we'll have quotas that we will set up. And the cost is much more reasonable because we're really paying for usage plus a small amount for the subscription to nebulaONE. And if you go to the next tier, these are your pro licenses: ChatGPT Pro, Claude Pro, Gemini Pro, Copilot, M365 Copilot. You're getting more advanced capabilities. You're getting good security with those, and you're getting much higher usage limits, but then you're paying per month per user for those. And you're getting just one kind of model at a time. And there are some people, we are hoping that nebulaONE will meet maybe 80% of people's needs, or maybe it's 80% of most people's needs. And that there will be some amount of people that are going to need to pay more for the pro versions of those tools. There is a little bit of a gap between what you'll get logging into nebulaONE and interacting with those models through API calls than what you would get by logging in directly to something like a ChatGPT Pro. So there's a little bit of a gap. So things like Claude code is not available, or ChatGPT Codex not available with inside nebulaONE yet. And so there are some reasons why some people, we might need to pay more for some of those licenses. And we're still working out what those licensing models will look like. But the reality is we're going to have all of this at Penn State. We want to keep people out of the free tier, including our students. And then we want to provide some different levels of capability across all these different tools. Next slide. And I'm trying to go quick because I want to get to the demo part, which is the interesting part. We have a rollout plan. So the pilot, we're going to do a pilot to faculty and staff first. And that will start on March 23rd. We are still finalizing the pilot users. And actually, we have a QR code on the next slide, and we can put that URL in the chat and in AI Horizons if you want to volunteer or put people's names in for the pilot. After the pilot and sometime before the end of spring 2026, and I'm definitely hedging on the date because we have to see how the pilot goes, we're going to release this to all faculty and staff. The goal was to get it, especially to faculty, before the end of the semester, so they have a chance to look at it as they make their kind of summer plans for the fall semester. Over the summer, we'll do a pilot rollout to students who are enrolled in probably summer 2 semester, and then a full rollout in the fall to all students. And one thing that's really important that we're emphasizing is that we are going to roll out our basic literacy module. So we'll have a AI basic literacy course that'll be available to everyone. That's going to roll out at the same time as these tools. We think it's really important to synchronize these efforts so that we're not just giving tools, we're giving tools plus training, plus giving people some basic AI literacy on not just how to use the tools, but how to think about the use of AI in a thoughtful and critical way. There was a question about Copilot Pro. People will have to make decisions about whether they continue to need access to Copilot Pro or they keep that in addition to what nebulaONE offers. I think people are going to have to make that decision as they see kind of what both tools have to offer. And this is not a presentation about the AI literacy efforts. That's probably a great topic for maybe the next AI Horizons, and much more to come on that. Next slide, please. Betty asked about whether people have to complete the literacy module before being access to the tools. There are some good reasons to do that. On the other hand, having access to the tools while you're taking the training is really helpful. And so it gets complicated if you give people access and then would have to maybe take it away after a period of time. We haven't made a final decision. If I had to look at my crystal ball, I would say we're likely not to do that on this initial rollout, but maybe something we consider later. There's a trade-off between making sure people have taken literacy before they access the tools and creating kind of a barrier to people, especially students, getting off of those free tools that we don't want them on and into a more secure platform like nebulaONE. Okay, next slide, please. And again, I know I'm rushing a bit. There's probably a ton of questions. I'm sorry, go back one slide. So for the pilot, we are still finalizing the pilot details. We will use the production system. So we have a test version of nebulaONE up. That's what we're going to show today. We're going to bring the production system up and do the pilot within production, which means that anyone in the pilot will actually get to keep all their data and settings from the pilot period into production. If you would like to be part of the pilot or request that someone else be part of the pilot, you can put a whole list of names if you want to. There's a QR code, there's a URL there. We will paste it in the chat. We will paste it in AI Horizons. And we will send out an email when you get access to the system. We're still determining whether everyone gets access on day one, or maybe we want to space that out a little bit over time, just to make sure that we're hitting all the gates from a performance perspective. We don't think performance is going to be a problem, but we're just trying to be careful as we roll this out. So I said a lot. There's a lot more that could be said, and happy to try to answer things offline, maybe in the AI Horizons space. But I want to turn it over to Kim, who's going to actually show you the system.
All right. Thanks, Dave. And Rick, do you want to jump in with your couple of points around security that we were going to mention?
I actually think Dave covered them, but just to rehash it, this is running in our Azure tenant. Currently, it is available up to level 2 data, but we are trying to work out level 3 data as well. And so we look forward to having that available for folks.
All right. Great, thanks. So I'll do a quick demonstration of the platform and what you can expect to see with some differences. As Dave mentioned, I'm showing the dev environment, which is going to be a little bit different for the pilot folks. So when you first log into nebulaONE, you'll get in through a URL, you'll do the two-factor authentication, and then you'll land on this page that is called One Chat. So if you look at it, it looks very similar to what you would see if you go into something like Copilot or ChatGPT. You have some menu options and things, and we'll talk through all of those. If by some chance when you first log in, you don't land on this one chat page, over on the left-hand side, there's a menu and there's a new chat option, which will take you to this landing page. All right, so we'll do a quick tour of the platform and the screen that you see here. So if you go to the top, this is the model selector. And if you drop that menu down, you can see the different tool options that are available to you in the instance. So this is the dev environment. Again, this may look a little bit different till they get the production or the pilot instance up and going. So this is what we have for right now. We have options in OpenAI, so I can click on that one and I can see that we have two ChatGPT options. Notice they have a small description by each one, so we think this is going to be helpful for new folks that come in to have an idea which tool may be helpful for the specific task that they're hoping to accomplish. The next one is Anthropic, and in this instance, we have two options for Claude, again with their descriptions. Dave mentioned Meta has been a new addition, so two options for Llama. And then in Google, we have two options for Gemini. So once you make your choice, I'm just going to go ahead and let mine at ChatGPT 4.1. If you come into the middle area of the screen, you can see the prompt, the text box for the prompt. And if you select the plus icon, you get a drop-down menu with some options. So quick prompts are a place where you can add a prompt that you're going to use repetitively or you're going to use more often. So I added one here, just inspiring quote of the day. I can simply click on it. It's going to populate into the prompt editor there, and I can send it off to generate. In that menu, I can also chat with a file. So I can upload a file to construct my prompt around to have the tool analyze that file along with my prompt criteria. We will mention that they are working to configure for Canvas file uploads. So more information for that to come in the near future. And then in that menu, we have some toggle options as well. So you can toggle to allow image creation. You can toggle to allow searching on the web. And then you can also toggle for the code interpreter. And I apologize, I have to look at my notes because code interpreter is not something that's forefront in my mind. But essentially how that works is if you upload a file and use the code interpreter, the data file will be able to be analyzed. So the code interpreter will run in the behind the scenes in the background to analyze the data. It can generate outputs like charts or summaries. It can also be instructed to work with images and other file types as long as the correct Python library is invoked. The code interpreter can also help you figure that out if you don't already have a Python library in mind. So if you're into the code area of things, that may be a helpful feature. Moving across the text box there, you do have a microphone if you would like to enter a verbal prompt instead of a text prompt. And for the demo today, I'm just going to enter a sample prompt. So this is just a very general sample prompt. Hopefully this is going to resonate with the audience here, but we're going to ask to create an assignment that encourages students to use generative AI ethically while still requiring original thinking and discipline-specific skills, include learning outcomes and student instructions. So again, you can customize that if you're teaching chemistry or if you're teaching English, so that it's a little bit more contextually appropriate. But I'll go ahead and start that conversation. You can see it's going to run similarly to any other tools that you've been using to this point. And then at the bottom of the response, there are some nice features here I want to point out. So I really like this first one. This icon shows you what tool this response was generated using. The icon beside it gives you the option to regenerate your answer, so to try again. So what's really nice about this feature or the platform overall is I can go up here if I want to use a different tool to get another response to compare. I can come up here and let's say I want to choose a Claude option. I can then choose regenerate. it's going to use the Claude tool to now come up with another response. So, oh, that one's very brief. It's asking some more questions. But the thing I wanted to point out is now you can see the icon has changed, showing you that it's Claude. This is now the second response, so I can toggle back to the first response really quickly for comparison, toggle to the second response, and then I can continue to regenerate or continue the conversation, answering questions to get more information there. Beside the regenerate icon is the playback, so you can listen to the response if you'd like to. The next one, you can copy the response to your clipboard. The next icon gives you some execution details if you're interested in looking at that. And then you have the feedback options, so you can provide positive and negative feedback as well. All right, so we'll move over to the left-hand side, and we already talked about new chat briefly, so that gets you a clean slate to start with. Directly under new chat is the icon or the title for exploring agents. So if I choose that, this is going to take me into agents. We'll talk just briefly about agents here today, but essentially what you can find in this area are two things. So university issued agents. So you can see the examples here that we have in the dev environment. When you go to the pilot, you will see the accessibility agent, and I believe that's going to be the only one available in the pilot at this point. But if you want to use that accessibility agent, you can simply click on chat. It will give you some context and some instruction, and then you have your prompt text box there to enter your prompt. Just point out at the top here, there is a pin icon. I have this pinned. I can click to unpin it or pin it, and I will show you where to see that here in just a minute. But I want to go back to Explore Agents because I want to show you at the bottom here, pilot participants will be able to create their own agents, and you can do that at the bottom of the Explore Agents screen here. Moving under Explore Agents, we have two tabs, Chats and Agents. So we'll show Chats first. So this shows your chat history. I can search within my chat history. And then I can also go to each individual chat. There's an ellipses menu, and when I hover over it, that appears. And if I choose the ellipses menu, I have options here. I can rename it, I can archive it, I can delete it, and I can export it. So if I export it, it will download a text file to my computer. If I archive, and I'll just archive this one, if you come down to the bottom, I have a history tab and an archive tab. If I choose archived, it will, there's the proposal one, it comes over to that tab. So it's just an organizational structure if you want to organize your chats a little bit more. All right, and then I'll come over to the Agents tab beside Chats. So I did not build any agents, but you can see any of those recently used agents in the Recent tab. And then there's a Pinned tab as well. So this is where I wanted to show you. I remember I had that pinned for the accessibility agent. I can find it here quickly in my Pinned tab. And then the last thing to show you down here where you see your name, that's your log out. So you can log out of the platform in that area. You can also access chat if you'd like to, but there are lots of places to do that that may be a little bit quicker for you up with new chat. All right, so I think that covers everything I wanted to share, and I know there's been lots of activity in chat, and I know people may have been answering questions, but I'll pause here. Dave or Rick, anybody want to chime in or bring any questions to my attention that we need to demo again?
Yeah, lots of great questions. We've been trying to answer them in the chat. Kyle brought up like Claude artifacts. Claude Code would be another example of features that are in those tools that are not currently in nebulaONE, but there is a roadmap. So nebulaONE, Cloud Force will always be adding new features to kind of try to get some of those features that are in those frontier model interfaces. Again, but the hope is that there'll be decent enough feature parity that this will meet a lot of people's needs. Rick, can you answer the question about the file repository for RAG?
Yeah,
I
so
believe that's changed.
I guess the best way to answer it, the initial focus is trying to get like one chat out to a big swath of people. We do have the ability to build RAG repositories, other connections to MCP servers. We're working on how that's going to roll out across the university. But that we expect that kind of a plan to be in place to have that available. We're thinking of like a departmental onboarding, so departments can build their own official agents for their own departments. But that we're working on that process today. But the timeline has been really fast to try to get this out to folks, and so we got kind of narrowed the scope down to get kind of the basic functionality out to a large group of people. But you can certainly reach out to me if you want to be a potential early adopter on the departmental side of it.
I know we're close to time. We'll keep answering questions in the chat. I have a final request. We need to give this thing a name. And we're not going to call it nebulaONE because we don't want to tie ourselves to a specific product from a specific company that could change. And as you know, like the AI marketplace is very dynamic. And so well, I'm going to put a link to a Microsoft forum in the chat. And we'll put it also in the AI Horizons space. We'd love your thoughts on that. We have some ideas in there you could vote on. And there's another that you could submit some names. We need to make this decision soon because we need to create the URL for the production system here in the next. Rick would like it to do it today, but at least we'd like that name by the end of the week. And so don't put them in the chat here. I'm going to put a link in the URL and you can, hopefully that works. I created it this morning and I'll find out very quickly if it doesn't. But feel free to put your ideas in there or vote for some of the names. And there's some really simple ones like chat.psu.edu that could be really good, or there could be other things. So would love your help in the kind of community source some ideas that we can bring to our executive sponsors for approval. And as Rick said, we're moving really quickly. I just want to call out Rick and his team who have stepped up in the last few months to get really smart on this platform and help prepare it for a really large rollout. When Penn State rolls it out, I expect that probably by the end of the calendar year, we'll have the most usage of any university, not just in our size, but in how the level of adoption that I expect to have, because we're tying the literacy with the rollout of the services. So thanks so much for your time and for your input. And we really look forward to getting your feedback during the pilot and rolling this out to the university.
Thank you very much, Dave, Kim, and Rick. Dave, quick verification question. Are these links, the pilot request and the name URL voting platform, are those links okay to share in AI Horizons when I share out the recording to this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The naming thing is unique. We're not going to capture who is it. Obviously, the pilot request is not anonymous.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you very much to, again, Dave, Kim, and Rick, and also to Kyle for fantastic presentations today. Quick mention, I dropped this in chat. During AI Fest, there is a session on nebulaONE. So there were a lot of questions in here. I will try and capture these questions and send them over to team if we missed any of them. But please sign up for the AI Fest nebulaONE session. That will be a full hour. So we shouldn't be, or they shouldn't be rushed through any of the content there. But again, thank you everybody for another great AI Horizons. And as always, I will share the recording and resources in the AI Horizons channel later today or tomorrow. So thank you, everybody. Have a great spring break.
Thank you.